I'm Adrian and Jerry, and this is the latest edition of the Core podcast series giving you council updates from the most recent town meetings. Today is February 28, 2020, and today we're going to give you a council update of the February 26, 2020 town council meeting. Today I am joined once again by Jerry Powers. Welcome, Jerry.
Thanks, Adrian.
And what we'd like to do today is highlight some of the things that took place at the meeting, some interesting comments that were certainly received from the public and those made by the mayor. And we also want to talk to you about the town's financial reports and some interesting disclosures that may finally reveal the true cost to connect to the town's sewer system for residential customers under the town's sewer ordinance. So we'll begin by talking about some of the issues that were raised on the agenda. Again, relatively nondescript. Didn't appear that there were going to be many action items of controversy at this town council meeting. And in the public comment, we did get some interesting comments from you, Jerry, about the town's response to public records requests and their failure to be 100% forthcoming, at least in our opinion. Any comments on that?
Well, if you've been watching our podcast, you know that some of the members of CORE have filed a lawsuit to remove the mayor. We have sent IPRA requests, which is Inspection of Public Records Act. Every citizen can do that. Any of you in the audience can do that. And the town is required to turn over those documents. The town is routinely ignoring our requests, or they're fulfilling very little parts of our requests. So my comment basically was, you're putting us into a position where we're going to have to sue the town. There's penalties of up to $100 a day for not doing this. And we probably, between the CORE members that have submitted these information requests, we have probably 15 of those. So the town is once again not complying with what is basically needed to have a full participation by the public in a bottom-up democracy. So we're going to have to sue them on those counts too if they don't change their behavior.
And one of the things that's interesting is some of the documents that we are unable to get are things that we know must be pre-existing, yes, specifically related to construction plans and engineering designs.
Yes, I asked for some particular specifications, drawings, plans for building some of the construction projects that have happened in the past. You have to have those documents or you couldn't have built it, and yet we still don't have them.
And as is customary for public comment, citizens come up to the podium, they stand at the microphone in front of all of the public, and they have the courage to ask the town for certain pieces of information, and yet there's never any response in the public meetings.
Yeah, it's crazy. One of the things we asked for was, Councilor Jaramillo was asking about the cost of the one sewer connection, now the one person on Church Road that is actually connected to the sewer. And unbelievably, the town clerk, we can show this clip, but the town clerk says he doesn't know.
So the connection fee is how much?
Mayor, Council, I don't recall off the top of my head. There's a application fee, a tap fee, and then a usage fee based off of the ERUs. And I don't recall what it is for the residential, what that fee is for them.
Okay.
There's an ordinance that specifies this, and yet for some reason, so you got to understand that either the clerk is completely incompetent, which I can't fathom that, or they're hiding it. They don't want to come out on the public record in front of an audience, and certainly not with the live broadcast that we're doing now, and tell everybody just how bad this is. So once again, we'll have to file another IPRA request and try to get that information.
And part of the way that we discovered that there might be some issues with this one sewer connection is by reviewing the town's agenda packet that's published with its agenda 72 hours before the meeting, which is generally on a Friday night after 5 o'clock in advance of a Wednesday meeting. Mm-hmm. And there was another public comment from Karen Kaiser, a member of the public, who said that in her review of the town's financial report, in addition to these issues with the sewer that we're talking about now, she also noticed that the town is continuing to expend extraordinary sums in attorney's fees, which total over $28,000 for the month of January, which is the financial report that was presented at Wednesday's town council meeting. And that also included over $4,500 in additional legal fees specific to EPCOR, which is a project that has widespread opposition. Nobody wants it. The town spent over $80,000 on it in legal fees so far. And to continue expending thousands of dollars seems highly irresponsible.
Especially given the fact that we have repeatedly asked for updates on where the town is with EPCOR. Are they taking it over? Are they not going to file? What is happening? And we have gotten zero response. I asked for it last night. I think Councilor Jaramillo did too, and wanted an EPCOR update, and you can hear crickets in the room. There's no response.
No response at all. Another thing that Councilor Jaramillo brought up during her matters from the councilor was an initiative that she has been raising with the town for a couple of meetings now, which is a Purple Heart initiative to make Edgewood part of the Purple Heart Trail and to honor those citizens and residents of this community who have served our great nation and have paid an extraordinary sacrifice, some of them even with their lives.
I was in shock after this meeting for hours because I still can't believe this happened, but we can show the film clip because you won't believe it either unless you see this one. But the mayor is resisting doing it, and the reason to resist it at all is extraordinary. Santa Fe, the town of Santa Fe, is a Purple Heart town. Albuquerque is a Purple Heart town. This happens everywhere, and the mayor's always talking about how other towns do what he wants to do, so he uses that as a justification. Well, the other towns are doing the Purple Heart, and he's resisting it. That he is resisting it is extraordinary, but the reason, so we can play the clip.
I'm just curious, I don't want it to sort of be turned into something that, self-serving for anybody. We've got cameras here all the time, and I know you mentioned like Mr. McGill there. I don't have a problem with people like that, but I mean, he has dropped a lawsuit on the town, and that's a little disconcerting for me to say, well, thanks for the lawsuit, now here's your big award or something. That just kind of didn't sit right with me.
So here the mayor is talking about how he is using his office and the force of government to punish who he thinks is one of his opponents, Tom McGill, who is a Purple Heart recipient. Tom has, together with me and Howard Calkins, a former mayor, launched this legal action to remove the mayor. So the mayor is withholding from all of the Purple Heart recipients and their families in the area the honor of memorializing and making Edgewood a Purple Heart town for the express purpose of punishing Tom McGill. I mean, it is extraordinary to do that.
It certainly is, and I think it's also important to note that the basis of this legal action to which Mr. McGill is a plaintiff is really not for his own interest at all.
No.
He's not asking for any money. He's not trying to get anything. At the end of the day, what he's trying to do is to carry the cross for the citizens of this community to say that we deserve an open and responsible government with accountable public officials.
That's exactly right. And at the November 14th legacy meeting of CORE, that is the feedback. That's why we decided to go ahead and launch that legal action, because by the end of the meeting, after seeing what's happening in the town and how far it's gone off the rails, the public outcry was enormous. How do we get this guy out of office? How do we stop this kind of behavior? So because Tom has taken it on himself and spent his own money doing it, and his own time, and taken this kind of public risk and burden, now he's being punished by the mayor with the force of government, not just the mayor himself doing something. It's on a personal basis. This is using the town government and withholding this particular type of honor, which is ubiquitous all over the country, that he's using the force of government to punish one guy.
Now, there was a specific request from Sherry Abraham, another counselor, during her comments to actually take a vote on this proposal that Councilor Jaramillo had offered up to the town. And what was the response on that?
He completely shut down. He jumped in immediately. Councilor Abraham says, should we take a vote and see about putting this on the agenda, which is the right thing to do, and let each person take a position with their vote on it. Well, he jumps in immediately and says, I've heard you, and he just shuffled it off. So they were pretending to want to put it off to some future date, like hook it up to Memorial Day in November. It's obvious that he doesn't intend to do it at all, and he came out and unbelievably disclosed his bad motive for doing it, for putting it off.
Well, that's the type of leadership that we have in the town of Edgewood today. We're hopeful for something better in the future.
God only hopes.
Yes, absolutely. So now, turning back to the sewer, we had began making videos to inform the public months previous to today to talk about the sewer ordinance, the mandatory residential connection requirements, and some of the extraordinary costs that private individuals might have to pay in order to connect to the system or risk the penalties that are provided in the ordinance, which can be severe. At that time, we had suggested that to connect to the sewer system could cost an individual homeowner upwards of $20,000. Now, there are certain fees that we know are static and fixed that have to be included in this price. Under the sewer ordinance, that includes an application fee, a sewer tap fee, and a capacity fee. And these fees together are about $4,000. That's a flat cost. In addition to connecting to the sewer system with these fees paid to the town, you also have to pay whatever it costs to decommission your existing septic system by crushing it, backfilling it, and abandoning it. And then you have to pay the construction cost to connect your house to the existing sewer main. Mm-hmm. There has recently been a sewer connection of a residential property on Church Street. We have been told, well, I shouldn't say we've been told, all things are revealed in time, and it seems that it takes a long period of time for us to be able to discover the truth of certain issues. But in the course of reviewing the town's financial reports, we learned of a roughly $17,000 expenditure that was for what?
Well, ostensibly it was for this particular hookup. So the town is spending $17,000. We were told that it was going to, each person had to bear that cost themselves. So something is strange here. And of course, the film clip showed that the town clerk is making it as clear as mud. You know, I don't know what the fees are. I don't know what they're going to pay. This is the guy who's running this, right? So we don't know yet whether the town donated that money, which is not allowed by law, whether they are getting reimbursed by those particular people or not, which means that the costs are in line with what we projected, and the town kind of poo-pooed that and laughed at it that it's not going to cost that, but apparently it is.
It certainly seems that way. And we have no doubt that in the course of time we'll get to the bottom of it. Mm-hmm. But what is certainly true in this instance is the property that connected is one of the simplest, easiest connections that are going to occur within the town of Edgewood. Right. This is a property that doesn't have significant rock, significant issues of grade or topography, and should be the cheapest type of connection that anybody could possibly have. And if it actually costs upwards of $20,000, that's real money. And it scares me what the cost could be for the guy who's next down the road, whose property isn't as easy to develop.
Yeah, and we should know all that, but as I say, the town has been very resistant to giving it out, even when they're required to do so by law.
Well, we will search the records, we will continue our diligence, and we'll find out the truth of the matter one way or another.
Yeah. So I'd like to mention again about the March 12th Legacy meeting that's upcoming Thursday, March 12th at Legacy Church. There's going to be a ton of new information. I want to encourage everybody to come. There's a new form of government that we can, as citizens, request by petition that will allow us to recall some of the counselors, which we can't do now unless it's for cause, allow us to have a lot more influence, which is what we're trying to do as core, open, transparent, and responsible government.
Each citizen has a voice. We're hopeful that you'll use yours. As of yet, we've been limited in expressing ours, given the form of government that we have, but change is going to come. That's one thing we can promise.
We're absolutely committed to it. We appreciate your support. Please come and give us your opinions, give us some direction, give us some feedback, and we will give you all of the information and new updates about this effort and commitment to have an open and responsible government in Edgewood.
Thank you for watching this Town Council update, another production brought to you by Citizens for an Open and Responsible Edgewood. Stay tuned and we'll see you next time.